This is a drill. This is not a drill.
Hey guys, this is Julian. I know, radical new look. I just colored my hair for a music video I'm working on coming a lot later down the road. You'll hear about it in the future. I realized today that today is the same time, or I'm sorry, getting ahead of myself. Today's stream is the same time as Porter Robinson's Secret Sky. So I'm going to try to keep this stream brief, get to the point a little bit, and we only have 4 tracks today, maybe 5 if I can get FL Studio to even open this one. But we only have 5 tracks today. I'm going to try to get this done within the hour so I can watch my buddy Imanu's set on Second Sky over on Porter's Twitch channel. But yeah, didn't realize that this was today until about a half hour ago, and I was like, oh, not the best scheduling. But it is what it is. We're here today on Julian Gray's channel, and we're going to be fixing your projects as we usually do every month. Sorry for the delay. Again, I've been working on a really special project that's coming out in the next few months, and we were shooting on the weekend. It's usually we do these streams on the second weekend of every month, on the second Saturday of every month. If you want to send in your project files to get them worked on, go over to the link in Patreon. You can submit your project files, and I'll work on them on the stream. All right, so we have 5 projects today. Just want to say hello to everybody in the chat first, and we're going to get started with Essity, and this is called Julian J 8 beans today. Amazing. All right, let's switch to our main camera. All right, getting this thing open. How are you guys doing? Let me know in the chat. And if you're going to be watching the Porter Robinson stream after this stream, let me know in the chat as well. I greatly appreciate you watching my stream when there is an amazing stream by Porter Robinson also going on at the same time. All right, so we are in live 11 for this track. Let me get this thing open, and then we can get this thing working. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and open up the project file for SD Julian J 8 beans today. I hope this isn't a meme. It might very well be a meme. But, memes are okay as well. I quit Discord too, just in case. And while we're here, guys, let me know if the stream is looking good on your end and sounds good. I think it should, in theory. Music might be really loud after this, but let me know. Thank you for the compliments on the hair. Yeah, I'm doing a really cool music video project and needed to do something loud for it. So the hair is colored cyan right now. All right, let's go ahead and play this thing. Jesus, that sub is crazy. Turn it up a bit for you guys. I've got my sub pack on, and this thing is rattling my back. Like, that sub is deep. Ooh, and it came in too. That's so nice. Turn up the music a little bit more for you. Pretty quiet on your end. Oh, interesting. Seems as though my music is not coming out of the sound card. It's only coming out of my speakers, somebody's saying. So let me confirm that it's actually working. Thanks, guys, for watching today. I know that there's a very particularly cool live stream over on Porter Robinson's channel right now, and after that, I'm gonna catch up on there. It should be working. It should be working. Okay, I'll just turn up the volume here. There, how's that? Should be good. Jesus, that sub is crazy, man. My whole back is vibrating. I would imagine some of my mic is getting caught in there. I'm going to turn down my speakers for you. So I think that if I had to pick one thing to critique about this so far, it's that the arrangement is kind of random. It doesn't have like a sense of tension and release building. There's a lot of different parts to the song, and I would say if you could just narrow down, you know, the best version of the drop, the best version of the verse, and build your arrangement off of that, it would be better than trying to write several different types of drops, which it feels like is right now. Break is pretty though. Okay, so I'm really liking this melody. One thing I will say is, though, you have a movement in your chord right here. So rather than lingering on these moving notes, which is the D sharp to the D sharp, which is like an octave, like you go up to the C to the D sharp, which is fine, but there's another chord change here that you don't follow through on. So if you're gonna do that chord change on this last bar on your ARP, do it on this guy too. So like if you kind of break this down, you can see that this is where your chords are happening. So like this is your, you know, the note that it changes to here. You want to make sure that it changes again here. So if you do the, maybe we can do there. So that way it matches. Yeah. So if we kind of break this down, it's like this. So you can see when this chord changes up, we follow that movement here. And you get this. And that makes the cycle feel a lot better. I'm assuming this MIDI is the same, so I'm just going to copy it. Apparently I was incorrect. Maybe I'll just do that here as well. And make sure an automation lock is on. I'm just going to copy this over so we have that melody across the whole thing. And I think in this verse section, this breakdown part, you can probably open the synth ARP up a little bit more to make a little bit more high-end noticeable, and you would add a lot of like nice energy to this because it feels really small for the entire part. It never really like opens. Yo, goofer. Nice job. Yeah, your kick and drums and your bass sound really nice together. I think it's mostly the top stuff that you could probably rearrange a bit. I'm going to try that automation thing I was talking about, so let's just do it. I'm going to open it up all the way towards the end here, and then maybe we'll automate the cutoff in whatever synth you're using to try to make this a little bit more interesting. So why don't we just grab like a macro and put it on the cutoff here? And then we'll automate the macro. Yeah, something like that, and then maybe we would try it with this guy too. So we have a little bit of movement there, and you can build some tension into the drop parts. So I think that the main thing that I have an issue with in this song is not necessarily like the writing, it's the arrangement. There's not a lot of tension and release. The writing itself and some of the parts are really, really cool. I think it's just mostly getting the the arrangement to work well. Why don't we just build this over the entire thing? Let me show you a trick really quick here too. You have your notes written out really staccato like this, and one trick I like to do to make these like cut-off motion automations more interesting is to essentially grab all of your MIDI and make it legato instead. So we can create those short staccato notes with an envelope, but what this allows us to do is as we open up the filter or whatever envelope we're using, we can make the notes feel legato and longer. So to start things off, this is going to sound pretty short actually, but it's because you have this envelope on the filter. But as you can see, as we start to open things, as this is legato now, you'll see. So yeah, it starts to sustain more, and then you end up with this nice like energy. And on this lower one, I'm going to turn it up a bit. My cat is having a fit right now. Yeah, this one needs to be louder. Maybe we can add a little bit of, or not this one. This one needs to be louder. We can probably add like a little bit of OTT or something too to make it really crunchy. What, bud? What do you need? Oh boy, he might jump up here. Everybody say hi to Juno if he comes up here. He's been a real needy boy today. Alright, so a little bit of OTT on this might sharpen it up. I'm going to put this before the reverb, and then we can maybe grab an EQ before that. Reduce the reverb a little bit. That sounds bigger here. I love your bass, it's awesome. Nice, just saw wave bass. What we can actually do is do a similar trick with our bass here. So we move the bass macro up as we go in this build up. Like that. I'm thinking maybe bring these MIDI in, like, and maybe a little bit less high pass as well. Do you guys see this cat right now? Oh, I guess you don't. Oh, well. He's trying to climb the window. Maybe we can grab this whole melody part and bring it in for this second half. I don't know. Just need something more here to make it more interesting. Why don't we just hit legato and then just have that sustaining through? Yeah. that macro. A little bit higher even. And I just want to kind of give it a little bit more high end to play with here, because right now it was just super Reese. Maybe like in that kind of region. And on your OTT, just to reduce the depth a little. I don't want to linger on this breakdown for too long, but I think it's important to get the contrast between this and the drop, right? Yeah, that bass is like coming in now. And I think the gap is a little much here, too. This is you also have this problem that I see in a lot of newer musicians' music, and that because there's so many elements here in the build-up or like the verse, you can see how like many more there are here than like in the drop. The drop actually sounds quieter. And we can actually check that. So what I'll do is I'll grab this plugin called Span. It's a really good stereo spectrum. And what this lets us see, what this lets us see is the spectrum over the time of the song. And I think that I have a hunch that the build up now is louder than the drop, and we want to kind of reverse that even if we have to do it manually. Yeah, so you see how like noticeably quieter that is? So we're way up here at like, you know, let's say -40. Negative 39. Majority of this. We hit that drop and then way down here at 54. So we're about like 10 decibels quieter up in the high end. So what I'll do is I use this trick sometimes if I don't feel like going through track by track and lowering the volume of everything. You can take a utility here, put it on your master channel. You can do this with the master volume as well. But what we're going to do is basically invert what we've just discovered is true. So for our build-up section, or like a verse, I'm going to drop this down to like -4, -5. And then when it hits the drop, then we can give it back those 5 decibels. And what we do is we invert that dynamic between the verse and the drop, so that the drop is louder, and human beings perceive that high volume as more energy. And that's the reason why we like to, you know, creep up the volume as we listen to stuff, or like the reason why, you know, people in the club want to hear it loud is because it feels more high energy, it feels stronger. And you can play into that psychology just by making sure that your drop is louder than your build-up. And you know, it doesn't matter how many instruments. This is like the thing too, is like a lot of people have these super elaborate drops that have like 50 instruments because they're like, it doesn't sound full enough, it sounds small. And a lot of that is just the volume. You know, if you listen to like Deadmau5's Imaginary Friends, it's like 4 tracks or something, but the drop is so much louder than that buildup is that it feels satisfying, and it feels more high energy than that really, really dense buildup. So see how this sounds? So I'm gonna go pretty far down here. Five might be too far, but maybe like 4.5. And lingering on that bass note really creates this tension because it wants to resolve. I love that, but I want to bring that melody back in as it builds up here. Still sounds quieter, like much quieter. So maybe it's worth just kind of turning up your instruments here, because this is still noticeably quieter than the build up here. Maybe let's lose this little gap here for a second. Let's turn up that mid bass like a lot. That thing is getting buried. Yeah, immediately that's better. I'm going to turn this section down maybe a little bit more, right towards the drop here, because again, this is noticeably quieter. Do you, Essity, have a limiter that I should use? Deleting that time there also makes that first section 7 bars. You mean 8 bars, I think. Because that time deleting should make the whole thing... Oh, so you actually, instead of like adding an extra bar, you just shifted everything over a bar. Interesting. So, okay, let me undo that. Gotcha. So it's cut out of the next layer, basically. So I'm not following what you've done here. So is this... Oh, so this is 8 bars. Oh, I see. So you have an extra bar stitched on the end here. Like this bar doesn't, or I'm sorry, this part doesn't exist in this one. Like this ends prematurely, I think. Maybe I just grab this. Just copy this over. No, that doesn't work. So, oh, I see exactly what's happening here. You're missing a bar here. So you can see these go 3 times, for example, and then you have a 4th one to like resolve it. So it's like dun 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 dun. But this time you only do it twice, and you don't do it a 3rd time. So it doesn't actually like loop correctly, and you have this one stitched at the end here rather than doing a 3rd one of these, I think. Because if it was just starting a bar late, it should start on this note, not on this one. So like if I just duplicated time, for example, here. Because now this is 8 bars. If you get me. And then I could just delete this. Because you want, like, for example, what I've just done here is created this. This bar was not... So, for example, you have these 3 notes, and then you have one resolving note like this, and then you have these 2 notes, which are essentially the yellow ones again, and then you have one resolving note here. And this is weird because the first time you do it is 1 beat longer, or 4 beats longer, and it doesn't quite like resolve the same way. Like the correct way to do this would be to do something like this. Because then you have 3, and then you have 3, and then the 4th is the resolve. For this part, it's like 3, then the resolve, and then you have 2 bars of resolve, which is kind of interesting. Like it's different, but it's what I would suggest doing is just kind of repeating the pattern. Like you don't want to throw this groove off that much. See, I like that grooves better now because it's a full loop. And then these should work in theory now after that, but yeah, this switch up here is probably not necessary either. Like I was saying in the beginning, just try to marry yourself to one really good drop idea, and don't do these like inner drop changes. It's very tempting to do like all sorts of, you know, new drops or like new switch ups and stuff like that, because you know they're fun and satisfying, but it's better from a, you know, listening perspective and also from like a songwriting perspective. Just kind of marry yourself to a really like the best option rather than switching it all the time. So I'm gonna play this thing through from here, and then I think I'm gonna call this one a wrap because I've already done a half hour on it. Your kick is so good, man. Maybe if you took your bass and did this. Octave up +7, or 5th, sorry. I don't know. Just that's a creative idea you don't have to use, but I think it adds some nice mid bass, which you didn't really have. Bunch of reverb on it too, maybe. Yes, I saved the file and sent it back, yeah. And for just the laugh before we wrap this one, I'm just going to put a limiter on it to crush it a bit so we have some, you know, I'll actually use a good one because I don't want to use a bad one. I'll just use Pro L right now because it's easy. Just to give you an idea of how this would sound like mastered, because it's a really good song, man. crazy. So definitely pick up a good limiter if you don't have one, because it will make or break the track. I keep saying this that I'm almost done, but really quickly, I'm just going to grab a delay and stick it on the ARP. And then as we get to the top of that crescendo, just add a little bit of, dry wet. And we'll do it like at like a 2, so that it's like faster, like a quarter note. Took the existing clap and stuck it right in front of that, it would be like ace, like really cool. I don't know where your clap is. Limiters, Pro L is good. Elevate by Newfangled is awesome. There's so many good ones. Isotope Ozone Maximizer is sick. And you see how much the volume discrepancy now changes the drop, because the build-up feels quieter. Super cool, man. Love this one. I did not eat beans today, but maybe I will after this. Julian J ate beans today by Essity. Really cool track. Let's get on to the next one. Love that one. That one was fire. All right, we have 505 Hallman border something. Let's see. Everybody give a clap emoji in the chat for Essity. That was awesome. I love that one. Can I do one? Clap. Come on. Yeah. Send it. You missed the secret I hid in the track. Dang it. Well, I could reopen it, but you could just tell us the secret. Or maybe I'll check it out next time. But I'm on a bit of a time crunch today because I'm trying to catch my buddy Imanu's set over on well, gosh, now I have to check it out. On Second Sky by Porter. However, I will do it because I'm too curious now. I have to do it, and then we'll open up the second track. I'm gonna dab on him. I love my cat. We got him one of those cat bags. I don't know if you can see it. No, you totally can't see it. It's like one of those backpacks where you can put your cat in it and walk. And we're trying to get him to like it. All right, here we go. What's poppin', homie? What's poppin', Essity? Okay, cool. Loved it. All right. 505, next track. How did we go for almost 40 minutes on one track? This is why these streams end up being like 5 hours long. It is what it is. End. All right. This is Hallman, Borderlands Reinterpreted, 505. Immediately that Reese is too quiet. A little bit less high end there. I'm gonna do this too. Dang, if we have time at the end, I'll check it out. Alright, I'm gonna work as I go on this one so we can get through it. Yeah, so that Reese is much better now. I just added an octave saw wave below it, added some voices of unison to it. Ideally, I would do this in a separate channel, or I would do it in MIDI. I wouldn't do it in an oscillator like this, but it is what it is. Works. Sounds much thicker now. This main bass is too quiet too. I'm gonna turn that up. Okay, this one has a little too much like ring to it. I think it's just this particular waveform. I don't want to screw it up though. Yeah, I'll duplicate it. You have a backup. But I would say just go for like a... like more voices and then do like a saw wave. And stick a bass under it and you get this. Maybe the attack time on the envelope could be a little bit more interesting like that. Yeah. A little bit more reverb, maybe. Kick needs to be louder too. Most of these are just mixing, man. Some of you producers that send in tracks, you guys know that you're good at music. It's just that the mixes need a little bit of help, but like the production are solid. I'm still not in love with this pad. Let me try, rather than that, I'll do a low pass like this. And then maybe like a quick little sweep, like a less resonance too, just kind of like, yeah, that's pretty. So on that snare, this is very left, or at least like it feels that way. Maybe I'll just narrow the stereo width a bit. And then maybe if you really want to play with that width dynamic, you can put an auto pan or something at a higher rate. Like, it just felt oddly to like the left hand side. I think it's like a effect you're using, like a Haas effect or something. Yeah, literally H. That's exactly what it is. It's a Haas effect. So if you guys didn't know, Haas effect is when you delay the left channel or the right channel slightly from the other side. So like the right channel hits like 10 milliseconds before the left. And what it does is it creates this weird artificial stereo width, because your ear, when you're listening in real life, you hear on your right hand side if something's on your right slightly before you hear it on your left hand side, and that's how your brain, you know, understands depth perception. But in this case, it's a little bit too far to the left. It feels like it was just lingering over there. One other thing, I mean, you should probably do a time signature reset, and that will realign your grid. Your grid was like off by a bar the whole entire time. Now you can see these all are landing perfectly within those like 8 or 16 bar chunks. Okay. I think this might have a little too much resonance on it too. I always try to give a little bit of drive or filter variation on my basses like this. I'll make that sidechain a little quicker, and then maybe a little bit less aggressive on the pad. And rather than just trimming off all that low end, I'm just going to give it back. Okay, so those fill drums are really, really heavy. Like, they don't need to be that dense. What you can do is just dial out some of the bottom. So readjust the balance so that like the high end is favored. And that's what creates this like light to the touch kind of snare builds. And then on your main clap, that is just a little bit weird. So rather than putting reverb on this, what I'll do is I'll split your clap into its own channel. You can do that by adding a MIDI channel, and then you just drag the clap onto the channel. And then it'll automatically grab the MIDI and the drum and put it here. So I just want this one to be dry, so we'll call this clap. Yeah, and then I want to just high pass this a bit. Yep. And then there's this dead mouse trick where he compresses or sidechains his claps to his kick, and what it does is it creates this really short transient. You gotta do it in a very specific way so that your clap doesn't get crushed, because having a sidechain obviously on your clap, if you're on a 4/4 grid, the kick will be overlapping it. So you want to make sure you're delaying the attack on your compressor so that it waits a second for that transient of the clap to get through, and then it cuts it off. But it creates this really nice sharp clap effect versus this. It's nice and tight. Yeah, let's play that in the mix now. Now the fear with this is that you make sure that your clap always has a sidechain to kick, otherwise you're gonna be significantly louder when the kick isn't there. So what you could do is create like a ghost kick for this. I'm sure you have seen videos on how to do that before, but you basically just take a kick trigger, and then you make it sends only, and that'll do it. So It's like laughably loud though when the kick isn't there to trim it. So maybe you could, you know, freeze one of these clap samples that have the sidechain on it, and then put it back into drum rack so you can re-trigger it. And then on your drums group, I'm just gonna do the same thing, like a little bit of, you know, low end removal so you can have a little bit of high end as your focus. I feel like this isn't being utilized very much. I'm gonna reduce your LFO tool on that a little bit. And this guy, I'm just gonna give it a little bit more verb. This reminds me of something I would have written back in like 2014. Really, really cool track. Like the last one, I'm just gonna throw a limiter on here to show you what it would sound like mastered. It helps me get an idea of, you know, how good the mix is and, you know, how it would sound finished. There's those laughably loud claps. Yeah, just do a sidechain triggered, like a ghost kick, and I think you'd be good. Sounding really good. Maybe you could try a little bit of extra groove in there too, like another hi-hat, like a Tool Room or like Mark Knight style, like house hi-hat. That would be really cool. But overall, man, this is sounding really good. Like I said, some of you guys know that you're good at music. You're just you just got to work on your mixing a little bit, and I think it'll be perfect because these are really good conceptually. That's sounding really good. I love your kick too. What is that, like a 909? Oh, it's kick 2. Makes sense. All right. So this is 505 Hallman Borderlands Reinterpreted. I love it. I'm going to save this one and move on to the next. Sounds really good. Like I was saying before, some of these are extremely good. All right, moving that to finished as well. Next up, we have Hello Beautiful. I actually don't know whose project this is. They didn't put their name. There's a note thing for me. Save as, okay. That's weird. Oh, it's because I moved it really quick. Downloads. What was this one called? It was 505, yeah. Okay, cool. And I just realized I did that in 11. I hope that you're in 11 and not 10, because you can't open a 10 project in 11. I got to remember to open all the projects in 10 first so that we don't, you know, undermine the original project file. All right, Hello Beautiful is next. Let's open this one up. Hopefully this is in 11, or 10 rather, because I'm opening it in 10. Everybody give him a round of applause in the chat if you're still there. see. Okay, so this is Hello Beautiful. Hopefully this one works. All right, immediately this is really quiet. What I'll do first is put a compressor on the master so we can really get a listening level. So I'll just do Pro L. That groove is already sick though, I can tell. This is temporary. I wouldn't advise keeping this on unless, like, you know, it sounds sick. So that fixed our volume problem. Immediately, those toms feel a little bit dull to me. Wherever that is. Yeah, these guys. Oh, right. That's actually not playing from Live 10. There you go. I hate these intermediary periods. Like, I went through one of these from 9 to 10 as well, where I have to switch the audio every time. Yeah, music wasn't routed. Here we are. It's got way too much of a tail. I'm just gonna dial that in. Jumping right into it. Yeah. You don't need that like 2-second long tail. Just creates mud. So let me just play that from the start again. I would almost say like an OTT on that, the tom thing as well, just because it needs some like sharpness. Do like 25% and give a boost in the high and the mid. Listen for the high end, and then I'm going to compress a lot more. on it too. But I don't have your synth, whatever you use for this, but I would say lose the EQ and just kind of run with it a little bit more dry, and maybe a little bit of a roll off at the top, but I don't think you need as much EQ on there as you do. So we don't have nectar. I'm assuming that's like pitch correction or something. I want to hear this dry.
Earth ground me.
So it's
the fire.
Oh, you have it going to ascend as well. Okay, so you have way too much reverb on this. Like it's distracting how much it has. I would say, you know, tone it down a little bit.
Earth ground me. The fire warmed me. The air cooled me.
Yeah.
Water nourishes my soul.
Generally, the higher the reverb, the more lost a vocal gets in the mix. This is such a like strong vocal. I don't think you want to bury it as much. So maybe turn your reverb down to like, you know, negative 10 or 11 from where you had it at like 1. I'm also going to say give the high end a boost. It's very like pop centric mixing style, but it usually helps the vocal punch a little bit more. It also sounds like you have like warp on here or something, and it's still on beats mode. Yeah. So the beats is what's making it so jumbled and jargled.
Water nourishes my soul.
If you just switch this to like complex, you wouldn't have those like those weird cuts, which is immediately better. All right, let me play that from where we left off.
How you doing today? How you feeling? They wave high. Hello, beautiful. How you doing today? How you feeling? Feminine, daughter, divine masculine, divine feminine. It's all inside of you. It's all inside of me. Earth, fire, air, water.
I'm wondering what this was recorded on because it sounds really dull to me. It doesn't have like a bite to the vocal. Like, let me hear it like dry. Yeah, so it's losing everything above like 10K. Maybe 15. So it doesn't have like any edge to it, and it's really distracting. It's not as clear because the clarity of a vocal is in that like 10 to 15K. What I would say is maybe a solution would be to try like one of those air plugins, like Fresh Air by Slate is pretty good and it's free. There's also Roth Air, which is questionable now because it doesn't work on most new Macs. So Fresh Air and Roth Air can kind of fake that high end, but you're never going to get it back until you re-record it. I don't know if this is an original mix or original vocal, but if you're recording vocals, make sure you record it at a really high resolution, like 48K, because you can lose a lot of high information if you record it lower. And then also, you know, if it's from Splice or whatever, you might want to just look for a different vocal because that high end is so important to a good clear vocal. So we can fake that. We can fake the high end by using like air or what have you, but you don't get that same clarity. You can't add like 20K. You can never add a frequency. That's something that a lot of people have the misconception of. So like if you have a track that's missing like 50 hertz, the only way you can add that frequency is to actually record it that way or to play that note. Every frequency corresponds to a note. And if you are trying to add something, the only way to really do that is maybe like adjust the harmonics of that note. And that's what things like Fresh Air or like R-Bass or those sort of things do. But you can never get like that clear, perfect vocal sound without that high end. I think we kind of hear that here. The air definitely helps out, makes it more forward. Let's try it now.
They wave high. Hello, beautiful. How you doing today? How you feeling?
See how much clearer
They
that
wave
sounds?
high. Hello, beautiful. How you doing today? How you feeling? Feminine daughter, divine masculine, divine feminine. It's all inside of you. It's all inside of me. Earth, fire, air, water.
Yeah, I wish I had your auto tune as well, because I'm sure it's adding like a lot of tone to this as well. So that's way too loud. So a little too much low end to this harp sound. I think these in general just have too much low end. Just gonna do that and then high pass it. This gives me, you're familiar with the artist Black Coffee. It kind of reminds me of his stuff. It's got this really cool like ethnic vibe, but it's still house music, and it's got that really cool grounded feel, but it has these really cool switch ups. You might want to check out his stuff. Just lose some of the low end of that harp and the pluck. Sennheiser E835. I don't know how that mic sounds, but it does sound a little dull. It might also be your miking position. So if you sing like too close to a mic, it alters the way the mic picks up the vocal. You don't have as much high end. It feels very like thuddy and bassy. So maybe if you pull away a little bit, you can get a little bit more air in the vocal and get a better recording. But I think that's sounding much better now with a little bit of fresh air from Slate, and then just turning it up and reducing some of the reverb on it. It feels less clouded and less masked. It feels much freer and clearer. And then also just changing that warp mode makes it less rhythmic and weird, and it makes it smooth and nice to listen to. Yeah, but overall, man, it's sounding really, really cool. If you could send me the bounce of this with the vocal processing after I send this back, I would love to hear like how this sounds as it stood. with like auto-tune and like any plugins that I'm missing on here, because the idea is really cool and I like the grooves a lot. Like I said, it gives you that Black Coffee feeling, which is one of my favorite artists. His collab with Drake is like one of my favorite songs off that album. But yeah, really, really good stuff. I like this one a lot. Mix in general is really, really solid, especially with that limiter on the master. It really pulls it together. Just a little bit of OTT on those toms just adds so much clarity. I think that's one of my biggest things with newer producers to focus on, is like clarity and trying to make things sharper in the high end and more clear in like the mids and the lows. Because a lot of producers, mask over some of that high end or roll it off, but that's where all your clarity is where all the transparency and the tone of the voice is, or like whatever instrument, like your hi-hats or your basses or whatever. Cool. So that's Hello Beautiful by Dustin Rosada in the chat. Give him a nice clap. I'll give him a clap too. Woo! Really solid stuff, man. I love this track. Let's move on to the next one. And hopefully this is a live 10 as well. Hello Beautiful. We have Project 33. Yeah, man, and when you get this back, please do send me the bounce of the vocal processing, because I want to hear how that sounds with the Nectar on it, because I loved it. All right, next up we have whatever's loading. And then I think after this we have one more. I don't know if we can get the next one open, because the next one is an FL Studio project, and I generally don't do this, but I have this one new student who is an FL, and I'm going to try it. If I can't get it to work, then we'll just have to listen to the wave or something. All right, listening now. So same issue on this one, just kind of quiet. I'm just going to ditch the utility they have on there for -6. Put a limiter on just to kind of hear it louder. Seamus says he's missing some decapitator on a few channels that he wasn't able to freeze. Right. This is 11, isn't it? Never-ending confusion. Seamus, are you in live 11 or 10? Because I want to confirm that I don't open this in the wrong one. Let me just try it first. And if it works, then... Okay, yes, 11. Okay, cool. So that means we're done with 10. I don't have to think about 10 anymore. All right, here's 11. Lost a bass or something here because I just felt it. Oh, never mind, my sub pack just turned off. like your EQ on the kick, but I think the kick is just too quiet. Turn that up. So I will say that it took a little while to get here. That's like 2 minutes into the track and we haven't even hit the break yet, let alone the drop. So maybe trim some of this in half. So one thing I will say, like right here, there seems to be like 2 or 3 conflicting melodies, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but the main thing is, or my key that I want to take away for you is, I would say try to prioritize one of them. Like there needs to be one key lead, and then the rest of them can be like lower in volume, or like you filter the high off of it so that it's kind of in the background a little bit more. This feels very forward and very like strong, and I think it works, but when you have multiple leads going at the same time, you kind of lose sight of any given one. So like, let me back this up a little bit. So like right here, it's like that. Right? But now you have like these 2 melodies at the same time. So I think if you're going to bring in that second one, try to bring that first one out a little bit more. Oh, yeah. Here we go. So this is like a similar story here where the ARP is kind of distracting me from the main lead. So like if we just kind of lose that for a second. Oh wow, is it that big of a difference? Here. How about that? Yeah, so like maybe you can bring this in as like the hi-hats come in or something, so that you can really let this melody establish itself, because this is kind of the melody for the drop, right? Like you introduced it in the build-up. That melody is so cool too. That last 4 bars where you like shift keys or whatever it is. That's ace. That's really cool. I would say maybe the lead is just a little quiet, but I also don't have your, your filter or your EQ, it looks like, or your other EQ or your decapitator. Oh, like you said, it might just be the decapitator. So let me try that. Maybe here, like. So this group sounds a little dense to me too, but you're using Pro Q, which I don't have. I'm just gonna use a EQ here. I think that's the reason why it sounds weird. I'm just gonna roll off the bottom. And then your big snares, I think they need like some reverb or like some high passing or something. They feel a little too dense. Yeah, just like something like this. I think this one's a little buzzy too. Like you might be able to make this a little stronger if you, I don't know, just worked on that sound a little bit, because your main bass and your subs feel really good and really pumpy, but your high end feels a little like cheesy, in my opinion. Like if we just took this and just it's like I mean, that's a little bit better even than there. But I think it might be like your distortion or something in the middle of the chain, which I can't really adjust. It might be this amp. Mayan BS. I have a thing coming on Mayan's label relatively soon. Low key. So like even like that small little roll off pushes this backwards, because that high end again is that clarity and that strength and the forward presence, and just by rolling off that high end we can push things back in the mix, make our lead the focus again. I love that ride. Yeah, just lightweighting that big snare helps so much. And then like the ride cymbal, maybe like this is like more of a creative idea rather than like a objective one. I think if you just took a pan utility, like a auto pan, and just did a back and forth bounce on like a quarter note, Maybe like a half note, actually. Yes, it goes. Yeah. And just play. It's kind of nice. That melody is so good, man. Like, that's one of the better melodies I've ever heard on one of these streams. Very unique. That modal shift is so sick. I don't know if you intentionally did that, but I believe that's a modal interchange. I think the kick might need some high end, but like maybe something like this. So lose some of the boxiness and just get like only the top. Your main snare, where is that? It's your main clap. It just feels kind of heavy, man. Yeah, let me just try this. A little bit of help on the snare too, like high favoring curve. Not so much of a cut. So like this like ringy top end is what we're focused on, and creates so much more energy. Because a really heavy like low end snare really drags an arrangement down in energy. I don't have too many critiques for this one, actually, outside of those small things we just worked on. I think that the mix is awesome. The writing is really good. The melody is awesome. Jay Johnson asks who the producer is. This is Seamus Yar. He's in the chat. I don't know what his alias is, but I think that's what I'm going to do for this one, because this is already really solid. I don't have too much to say about it. Just some minor adjustments. One of the better projects I've gotten in a long time. All right, saving that one. And we have one more, and I don't know if this one will even open. I don't know if I can open it, because this is... I don't know how this works. Can I just open that? So this is an FL Studio. Let me see if I can do this. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't have FL set up, but we can try it. Yeah, Seamus, please send me the bounce of that guy without like the missing stuff. Oh boy. Okay, I don't think this is gonna happen. I mean, you can try it. Oh. No, that didn't work. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to update my FL Studio and then do this for next time, because I don't think it's working. And I don't have my audio routed either. I don't really use FL, but one student of mine is new and they use FL Studio. And I have actually a few students that use FL, so I'm going to try to start using that. So anyway, guys, I think that's going to wrap the stream. I'll get her some feedback on her own. Yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. Let me switch back to my main camera here. There we go. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been Fix Your Project. I do these, again, every second Saturday of the month. This one was pushed back a week because I was doing something last Saturday. But basically, you can send me your project files on Patreon. I work on your project files, send them back to you so you can release your pretty fancy, shiny, new mixed project files to the world. Or not. Or you could just ignore my changes because I might suck. And, you know, we all can't do it perfectly every time. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. If you're interested in submitting for next month, go over to patreon.com/JulianGray and sign up for a pledge there. You can submit next time. Again, the next stream is very soon, actually, in 2 weeks, I believe, over in May. If you are free tomorrow and you want to watch a really cool set, I'm going to be playing a gradient set, which is my collective. We do this weekly on Twitch called Gradient Sessions. And this week is my birthday. The April 29th is my birthday, but I'm playing it tomorrow. And I'm playing an anthology of Julian Gray sets. So I'm going to play, or at least I'm going to try to play every single song I've released ever under Julian Gray. At least like the playable ones. And something I've never done before. So if you are curious about my music from like 2012 to now, you can go and check it out tomorrow at twitch.tv/gradientarts. We're going live at 3 p.m. Pacific time. I wish I had something prepared to put on the screen here, but if you're busy tomorrow, or if you're not busy tomorrow, tune in. It's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, if you're not busy right now, go and tune in to Porter Robinson's stream, Secret Sky, because my good friend John Emanu is playing in literally right now, so I should probably go and watch that. I guess I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you again for watching today. The link will be in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, go ahead and join it. Discord.gg/JulianGray. Somebody will link you in the chat. And yeah, if you want to watch the stream tomorrow, or if you want to watch this one's going to be available in moments after we wrap this up. And yeah. Anyway, I'm Julian of Julian Gray Media. Thank you guys for watching today's stream, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.